Welcome back to the Fives, everyone. This week, we're going to wrap up our reviews of some of the films from the Runway Gen 48 competition. And this week's 5 films are all AI anime finalists from the competition.
We'll be featuring the work of Neco, Mingdi Li, Viacheslav Yermolenko and Oleh Sokolovsky, Debargha Maschatak, and Rohit Pakalapati.
I'm John Rogers.
And I'm Kai Turner.
Number one.
In the ruins of a world long gone, even silence is a threat.
Our first film this week is Into the White from Japanese filmmaker Neco. And this is a story of really kind of a dystopian tale of perhaps one or two of the last remaining humans on Earth walking through a wasteland of some sort of former kind of battle zone. And these two wanderers find each other. But it ends with a message of hope, really, that these two have come together. Perhaps there's a hint that there might be love here, and that a mysterious dragon appears with the memory of humanity to help lead and rebuild for the future. I really like that this film is definitely, I would call, very traditional anime, and that it, while dystopian in nature, ends with a hint of hope.
Yeah, to me it felt like an opening sequence to a video game. I almost expected to have control of the characters so I could explore this winter apocalyptic world. Well, I gotta say, we're at the point where these videos are really about the story and the world building, because so many of the technical challenges have been solved. As I'm watching it, I'm not thinking about the fact that it's an AI video.
Number two.
Next we have Coronus by Mingdi Li, and this is a film about a wanderer in the wilderness who finds a cursed crown that gives him a vision of a kind of hell dimension. The story doesn't really spell out what's going on, but it's clearly an evil power. And it gives me a lot of Lord of the Rings vibes in terms of how it pulls you into this dark place. It works as a self-contained short film as well.
Mingdi Li is a Canadian filmmaker, and what I really like what he's done here is that he's setting up a bigger world. I think that's going to be a theme this week, that all of these films are setting up big possible worlds, and that this character, this wanderer, has a choice that they can reject this vision that they've had by touching this crown, or they can choose to put the crown on and see what happens. And where we leave this is the wanderer chooses to wear the crown, and we enter now into this kind of hellish scape. Potentially even this could be a great setup for a kind of AI horror type film.
Number three.
Our third film this week is Cauldron Lake from Ukrainian filmmakers Viacheslav Yermolenko and Oleh Sokolovsky. And what's really interesting here is that this is a setup of really a location that I would say is the Pacific Northwest. Rainy mountain lakes. This could very much be like the Hood River area of Oregon, or Gravity Falls if you're a Disney fan. And what I love, though, is that this is kind of setting up the beginning of a horror story where a missing father, a missing parent reappears, but they're not what you think they are. And I could see the family, the friends having to figure out what's happened to this person and what do they have to do about it. So it's a great setup of a bigger world, and I could see this even as a trailer for a series.
Yeah, I'd say this is definitely another video where we're left with more questions than answers. I thought it was setting up a thriller like Cape Fear, but then it took a bizarre turn into horror at the end. I mentioned before that standards are now so high compared to 6 months ago that you can see some of the consistency issues, but remembering that they did this in 48 hours, I think that's really something.
Number four.
Fourth, we have Echoes of Woes by Debargha Maschatak, an Indian filmmaker, and this is a sentimental piece about parents listening to the message from their adult child, and it touches on themes of purpose and meaning and how we spend our time with each other, and also separation, and it uses an interesting split-screen device to illustrate the separation, sometimes even when people are together, as we see the perspectives of the two parents going about their day as they're listening to this message. And I haven't experienced this yet, but my sister recently became an empty nester, and I can definitely relate to the emotions that they're experiencing.
What I really loved about this film was the narrative about the heartache when a parent has a child that leaves the home to go off to, say, college or leave for a job in a different city. Certainly I've seen that in my family and around it as well. But I also want to comment for a moment on the split screen device. I really haven't seen that used in AI videos too much, if at all, so far. And it's very effective here. And I would encourage filmmakers to really think about this. It's not really a technique that we see too often in movies, mainstream traditional movies anymore. But back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, it was very common. And it can be quite effective when used in the right place. And I think what Debargha has done here shows that, hey, this is a technique that should be used more.
Number 5.
古いサーバー、コドネーム派、エセルレッド。
Our final film this week is ARCHIVE.EXE from Indian filmmaker Rohit Pakalapati. And what this is really has a surprise ending, which I really enjoyed, that what seems like a basic computer task or IT task suddenly ends up with a horror ending. And I like that it sets up this big question of, holy cow, what is this world that we've actually been looking at and are observing, and what else is happening inside this world, and what's the bigger power or force in this world?
Yeah, this is kind of meta on a few levels. The protagonist is writing prompts to change this virtual world he's watching, and then it's also meta in the sense that we find out he's in some kind of simulation itself at the end, and seems to have trapped himself or ended his own reality. This wasn't a finalist, but it was actually one of my favorites, and I want to know more about this world they're starting to build out.
Thanks, that's it for this week. Please like and subscribe.
See you next time.